SPS, and Appulate will be Vanessa Dulier-Camara, the Director of Customer Development. Due to the large turnout, we'll set aside time for a Q&A session in the end. Feel free to type your questions in the side panel located on the GoToMeeting screen, but SRI will read the question and answer depending on the specifics of the question with regards to SPS program or the Appulate submission process and procedures. As you may or may not know, SPS is a PA, Program Administrator, MGA, with over 20 years experience focusing exclusively in the inland marine space. Over the years, the SPS team has valued three key attributes to the success of the business, which has helped us become the industry leader we are today. Those three key points are reiterated in our mission statement, which is to provide our longstanding producers solutions for their insurance needs through industry-focused knowledge, unparalleled service, and strategic partnerships with financially secure and competitive carriers. We've partnered with superior rated companies to deliver a program designed for the logging, construction, and woodyard industries, focusing on the following classes. You have your logging operations, woodyard and sawmill ops, land clearing operations, street and road contractors, grading and excavation, and basically all other construction equipment or inland marine heavy equipment related operations. We have additional inland marine programs available to help round out the overall program. These include builder's risk, warehouse legal, motor truck cargo, installation floaters, to name a few. These available classes are also underwritten with A-rated or better competitive carriers. Target states are primarily in the southeast and range from Texas to Virginia. We've recently expanded our program into 3 additional states, West Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. Why would we partner with Appulate? As mentioned earlier, time is money, and we are sensitive to your needs and well aware of the sometimes a very time-consuming process to submit to various markets. Our intent with the Appulate partnership is to alleviate some of that burden by minimizing workflow and maximizing your time and focus on what's important, which is growing your business. Appulate has simplified the process. You submit directly from agency management system through print function. When submitting, you'll be notified of required questions to expedite the quote process. You, the producer, will be able to track that process by receiving email notification and status updates on a real-time basis. SPS's overall objective with our partnership with Appulate is ease of doing business. And again, Appulate is easy to use and free to sign up. I'll now turn it over to Vanessa, who will walk you through a quick overview of Appulate and the submission to bind process. Vanessa?
Great, thank you, Jeff. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Vanessa Dulier-Camara from Appulate. I'm going to be taking you through a few slides here and then a live demo. So let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, a little bit first about who Appulate is. We are out of Southern California, a software company with over a decade of experience and an agency network of over 27,000 and growing. That's over half of the marketplace. And we solve problems like redundant forms and questions, too many platforms, inability to quickly track submissions, and difficulty managing quotes. We've perfected the ability for you to upload a cord and other data, which will automatically populate portal sites, which means that you won't have to rekey any information during the submission process. Not only that, but Appulate works alongside any agency management system, which is one of the things that makes us very unique. Now, naturally, at this point, you're probably thinking, well, what's in it for me? And actually, this is all about you. At Appulate, our focus is on empowering the agent, and we do understand that getting a quote turned around quickly is one of the things that makes you a better agent. Also, it's important for you to note that this is absolutely free for you to use to submit to our partnered market, SPS. In just a second, I'm going to take you through a live demo, and just so that you know what to expect, I'll run through what I'll be going over here very quickly. First of all, I'm going to show you how to Appulate it, which means if you have an accord form filled out, there's no need to rekey that information. All you'll have to do is bridge the information into the SPS portal using our uplink tool. Then you'll be prompted to answer any missing and required questions. Those are questions that SPS needs an answer on in order to get you a quote. You'll be able to attach any additional documents or plug in any notes that you would like to include as part of your submission. Once you submit, SPS will receive notification. They'll go about their quoting much more efficiently and much more quickly using Appulate. They'll be able to upload and release a quote to you. You will receive email notifications so that you can review the quote in Appulate. You can request to bind and even view your policy docs all in Appulate. So let me show you a live example of how this works. And I'll do that by pulling up my Accord form here that I have all filled out and ready to go that I would like to submit to SPS. Now, I do understand that some of you may not have access to Accord forms. You may not have one filled out. And if that's the case, Appulate is still for you. So stick around. A little later on in the demo, I'm going to show you how you can start directly in Appulate for those of you that do not have Accord forms filled out. But for now, for those of you that do, since a lot of agencies do have Accord forms filled out, and the point is to not have to rekey any of this information, I'll show you how you can Appulate it, how you can Appulate or uplink this form so you won't have to rekey it. It's just going to bridge over into the SPS portal. And I'll do that by printing my Accord form, either in an Accord PDF like I have it here, or if you have a management system, that's perfectly fine. You can start there. Wherever you have the Accord, print it to the Appulate Uplink printer option. This is something that you have to have installed, so if you don't yet have it installed, don't worry, at the end I'll take you through setup, but it just takes less than a minute to have this on your computer. So print the Accord form to the Appulate Uplink printer option. Then confirm your Appulate credentials. And everyone that was invited to this webinar today already has Appulate credentials. So go ahead and type in your Appulate credentials just the first time, then it's going to store it for you, so then you just have to confirm it there. Now it's going to ask you to choose the line of business or clarify the line of business, because there's some Accord forms that may pertain to multiple lines of business here. And in this demo, we're going to do it for inland marine. So we'll go ahead and choose the appropriate line of business and click the Continue button. And now it's going to take us into Appulate. And it's going to create the Insured, as you see here on the top left-hand side tab. It's going to create the line of business. And it's going to take you right into our Q&A section. You see that that's the tab that's sort of highlighted here on the left-hand side. To the right of that, we have SPS selected. And further to the right of that, we have a letter indication. This letter indication will help guide us through any questions that are missing and required that we'll go ahead and have to answer in our SMART questionnaire. Now this down below is our SMART questionnaire. It's essentially the SPS portal that lives within Appulate. And we call it our SMART questionnaire for several reasons, one of which is that, of course, it bridged over all of your Accord information. It's all plugged right in here, so you don't have to rekey it. Also, based on how you answer certain questions, questions may be eliminated or questions may be added. So it's not just going to show you a bunch of questions that don't necessarily pertain here. Now, the goal, of course, is to click on the Submit button. You want to get this over to SPS. But there will be an X next to the Submit button until you fulfill the requirements. And the reason for that is that SPS needs all of the certain answers for this particular submission, this particular line of business, in order to get you a quote. So instead of wasting time by going back and forth to gather that information, they're asking for that information up front. So what you could do is you can hover over this letter indication to figure out if any questions are missing and required. If that's the case, it will show up in orange. And you can click on these links. These are live links, and it will take you directly to the section with missing and required information. And it makes it very clear what questions are missing and required, because it does have a big red asterisk here, and it does highlight the box or outline the box in red. So we can see that we're missing contact, first name and last name, and that's because it wasn't on the Accord form. Obviously, the more complete your Accord form, the less information you'll have to answer on here. In fact, if you bridge over a completed Accord form, you may not have to answer any additional questions. You may be able to submit right off the bat. The way that you can tell if you're able to submit is if you have a green indication and you no longer have a red X next to the Submit button here, you're ready to submit. So I fulfilled my requirements, and at this point I am ready to submit, but I do want to go over a few additional tabs here on the left-hand side that you may want to use. Starting with the Loss Runs tab. if you would like to attach loss runs as part of your submission, you can go to the Loss Runs tab, and if the insurance history information was filled out on the Accord form, it does plug that information right in. If not, all you have to do is click Edit Insurance History, and you don't have to really type in all of the insurance history information. It's just asking you for the market name and the year. Policy numbers are optional. Just have to choose the market name from our drop-down menu and click the Save button. And what that does is it gives you a little paperclip icon on the right-hand side so that you can upload the loss runs for that particular carrier. So it makes it very clear to SPS what you're doing here. So at this point, you have two options. You can drag and drop the loss runs from your computer, or you can click the paperclip icon on the right-hand side to upload any loss runs. Now I have them ready to go here, so I'll just go ahead and drag and drop them in. So we'll go ahead and drag and drop those in. I now have loss runs for this market that's plugged in and ready to go as part of my submission. Simple enough here. And then if I have any other documents that I'd like to attach, XMODs, notice of cancellation, anything at all that you also want to include aside from loss runs, go ahead and jump over to the Docs tab and drag and drop any files, or click on Select to browse your computer. The last tab I want to go over before we click the Submit button is the Notes tab. If you want to include any notes as part of your submission, any notes that you want SPS to review, go ahead and plug them in under Shared. Any notes that you plug in here under Shared and click Add, SPS will have access to those notes. If you plug in any notes under Private, SPS will not have access to those notes. Those are just notes for your reference. So at this point, we're ready. We can go ahead and click on the Submit button. By the way, there's also a Submit button at the end of the Q&A section or at the end of your SMART questionnaire, and that Submit button is fine too. They both do the exact same thing. You can click on either one. And once you click the Submit button, the status changes to say Submitted, so you know you've gotten it over successfully to SPS. Now, by the way, all of the information that you plug into Appulate, whether you bridge it over or key it in, it's being stored for next year for easy remarketing. And of course, it's in here so you can access and review this information at any time. An added bonus to help track your submission. So now at this point, again, we've submitted, and SPS does receive email notification letting you know that they've submitted, and they're able to review this information and get you a quote back very quickly, because it makes their process of quoting much more efficient as well. Now in the background, Jeff actually is going to upload a quote for us and release it so I can show you what happens once you do get a quote back from SPS. So Jeff, just let us know when you're done with that.
Okay, Vanessa, I just released it, so it should be in your queue.
Okay, perfect. So let me just refresh my page here. So let's say we've got it over to SPS, we submitted, SPS reviewed it, they quoted it, and Jeff actually uploaded a quote and released it to me. So as an agent, I do receive email notification, and I'm able to click on the link in that email, and it will take me right into my insured file, right into this page that I'm at now. And you can see that directly below SPS, I have a quote. So I can go ahead and click on the link, or click on the quote here, and it's going to open up a quote for me that I can, of course, review right away. So let me go ahead and let that load. And these are the quotes that you're familiar with. These are the quotes that you're used to getting. So we'll just go ahead and open that up so you can see that. So here it is, and you can, of course, review it just as you normally would and make sure that everything looks good. And if you'd like, you can go ahead and share it with your insured. So you can always click on that email link right from within Appulate and email it to them right from within Appulate, or any files that are in Appulate you can also extract as a PDF and then share it with your insured that way. And once you and your insured decide that you would like to move forward, there is actually a Request to Bind button here under the Action tab. So go ahead and review the quote, and if you want to move forward with it, go ahead and click on Request to Bind. If you do not want to move forward with it, go ahead and change the status. So you may want to change it to declined by insured or producer, whatever the case is. So do make sure that you track the status. If not, if you do want to move forward, click on the Request to Bind button under Action. Now, once you do that, it's going to give you some bind steps. So SPS has carefully outlined what they need in order to bind, and they need a signed accord form from you and your insured, and they need loss runs in this example. However, the loss runs option here is checked and in green because we already uploaded loss runs. So it's saying that's taken care of. That's great. All you have to do now is sign the accord form. So we'll go ahead and click on Open Signing Tool, and it's going to ask us who's going to be signing it. So if I'm the producer, I'll choose myself. If I'm a CSR that's working on this, I can go ahead and choose the producer from the drop-down menu that will be signing it. And you're going to want to choose the applicant or the insured as well. And just to keep this moving forward for demo's sake, I'm not going to select one. I'll just go ahead and click OK. So it's a very simple process to sign it. It's powered by Adobe eSign Services, but it's fully integrated with Appulate, meaning that neither you or the insured or anyone that will sign it needs to download anything or sign up for anything. It's just going to give you an email, or it's just going to automatically pop this up for you, and you just have to follow the prompts. So in this case, I just have to click on Start, and it says click here to sign, so I'll do so. And I'm typing in my name because that's what it's asking me to do. It's type my name so I can create a signature here that is legally binding or fully enforceable. If that doesn't work for you, if you prefer to draw your signature with your mouse, you certainly can, or you can upload an image of your signature, however you want to do that. But this is very simple, and it works just as well as anything else. So type in your name, click Apply, and it has one other prompt here, which is asking me to click to sign. So I'll do that, click to sign. And in a matter of seconds there, I was able to successfully sign the agreement. In this case, it was the Accord 152 that it wanted me to sign. And I can download a copy, and it's always going to be stored, of course, in Appulate as well. And if you had chosen an insured, they would go through the exact same signature process. They receive an email notification with a link. They click the link, and they sign it there in just a matter of seconds as well. And all parties receive email notification on signature, so you never have to keep logging into Appulate to see what's going on. You will receive email notification. Okay, so we still have a Request to Bind button under Action, so let's click on that. And it's just saying, okay, you've successfully signed the accord form and you've successfully uploaded loss runs. Do you still want to go ahead and bind? It's just sort of a confirmation here. So we'll click the Bind button because we do. And you can see that the status changes to say requested to bind. So you know that that's what the current status is, meaning that SPS received email notification. They were able to log in and review the information and go ahead and move forward with the bind steps. So now again, in the background, Jeff is actually going to bind this quote for us so that we can see what the next step looks like on your end. So Jeff, let us know when you're ready there.
Okay, it's refreshing.
Okay.
And I just changed status to bound, so it should update in your system.
Okay, perfect. And I just moved back just to refresh my screen as well. So, but you would receive email notification again letting you know that it's bound, and the email would contain a link. And the link would take you directly into Appulate in this insured file, and you can see that the status changed to say bound. So that's what you know what your current status is. And if SPS uploaded your policy docs, which they would, in this example, we're just trying to move forward quickly here, but they would upload your policy docs here and you would be able to review it. So you're able to quote with SPS as quickly as possible, review your quote, share it with your insured, change statuses, request to bind, and review your policy docs all within Appulate. And it's going to help move through the process very quickly, not just for you, but for SPS as well. And it's going to allow you to track all this information. Everything is stored, everything is tracked in Appulate. You can access this information at any time. So I hope that was helpful. I do want to make sure that we go over how to use Appulate for those of you that do not have an accord form to bridge over, so how to start directly in Appulate. I'll do that now. Then I do want to go over setup, and then we have a few additional sections to review, and we'll open it up for questions. All right, so for those of you that do not have an agency management system or access to Accords, again, Appulate is still for you. In fact, there are some added bonuses here for you. So the way that you'll start is by going into Appulate, logging in, and the very first page that it takes you to is Insured, All Insured, which is where every single insured that you have in Appulate is listed. And at the top left, you have an Add New button. So you're just going to go ahead and click on Add New and type in the insured information. So we'll just say test insured info just to keep moving forward here. But you would plug in, of course, the insured name and everything that it's asking you for on this page and click the Continue button. And once you click the Continue button, it's going to take you to the next page where it's going to have you choose the line of business and everything in regards to the quote, effective and expiration date, that sort of thing. So we'll choose that and click Continue. Okay, and now you're on this page that you're familiar with because we went through this. You're in the Q&A section where you have SPS selected, and to the right, there's a letter indication that's going to help guide you through the questions that are missing and required that you'll have to complete before clicking on the Submit button. So 2 additional steps on the front end, putting in the information, but then the process here is the same as for anyone that bridges over the Accord, except you're not bridging over information, so of course you have to manually key in that information here or choose from the options that are listed. Now you'll notice that some questions have a red asterisk next to them and some do not. So the ones that do not, those are optional. You do not have to answer those unless you feel like they're important for SPS to know on this submission. So the only thing that you must answer are questions that have a red asterisk next to them. By the way, if there is a section with a lot of yes/no questions that you have to answer, you can always use our Mark All as No button at the top right-hand side of the page, and it will very quickly just answer all of the questions in that section as no, so that then you can just go in there and change any that are yes, but not have to rekey all of that information. And again, you can click on the Continue button and keep working your way through this, or click on the live links that will take you directly to the questions that are missing and required. Now, I'm not going to sit here and type all of the information out while you're on the demo, but I do want to point out that all of the information that you enter into our SMART questionnaire does produce Accord forms for you in the background. So that's the added bonus here. If you go to the forms section, it's populating all of the possible Accord forms and any supplementals that may pertain to this line of business. And if you open up the PDF here, if you click on any of these documents, you can see all of the information that was plugged in. Not that you necessarily need this to submit to SPS, but it's good to know that you have records of this, that you have access to this, that you can share with your insured or pull up at any time when you need it. And all of this can be extracted in PDF as individual forms just by clicking on the name, or if you need multiple forms, just go ahead and select them and click on Get as one PDF. Okay, so at this point we've showed you how you can either start from bridging over your Accord form or start directly in Appulate and use Appulate efficiently to submit to SPS without having to rekey information, and how you get a few additional bonus features here for doing that. And of course the process is speeded up on both ends, so that, or sped up on both ends rather, so that you don't have to rekey any information and you can get your quote back as quickly as possible. Okay, so we've gone through all of those examples. The last thing I want to do here is go over setup. Then I'm going to toss it back over to Jeff, who has some post-webinar information, and then we're going to go ahead and open it up for questions. Okay, so let's talk about setup. As I mentioned earlier, everyone that was invited to this webinar today has received an email, and you do have credentials to log into Appulate. So let's talk about where to log in. You'll go to sps.appulate.com and you'll type in your credentials here. It's your email and whatever password that was created for you or that you created. If you do not remember your password, there is a link here for you to click on. It will send you an email, and once you click on the link in that email, you'll be able to create a new password. Okay, go ahead and sign in. Your name should appear on the very top right-hand side of the page. If it does not, then you may need to be added as a user. And that's perfectly fine. You can add as many users as you want, and it's absolutely free. Just have your account admin go to Setup and Users to add you and anyone else in your agency that will be using Appulate as a user here by clicking the Add New button. Okay, the other thing that you want to do is download Uplink. Go to Tools, download Appulate Uplink. You'll do that by choosing the management system from the drop-down menu. If you don't see yours listed, don't worry, there is an other option. Again, Appulate works with any agency management system, so you don't have to worry about that. Then just click on the link to install, and it will install on your desktop in less than a minute. If you've used Appulate in the past and you're not really sure if you've downloaded this or not, just go through the process and it will guide you, or just go to print any document, and if you see Appulate Uplink listed as a printer option, you know that you have it installed successfully. All right, so then I do want to also talk about your agency information. That can be changed by an admin under Setup and Company. And if you need to edit any of your own information, perhaps the user was created, or you were created as a user, but they plugged in just a general phone number, and you want to update this, you can click on your name and update any information here. Just make sure that you click on the Save button. So at this point, you're set up and ready to go. I do want to show you that we do have a help section at the very top right-hand side of your page next to your name, and there's a handbook that you can download. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted to our YouTube page as well as our video tutorial section under Market Partner Specific Training Webinar by the end of the day. It will be the very first one that's posted and listed here. But most importantly, we have our training section. We just launched a brand new e-learning course. It's interactive. You can go at your own pace. It does have a lot of neat videos that have animation that break down everything in a very easy to follow way. But it also has Uncover, our Appulate Q&A section, which is a click to reveal. So you do spend a lot of time in the Q&A section, and if you have any questions, you can go in here. And you'll notice that when you click on these little plus signs, it does expand the information on here and explain all of the information that is on this page for your review. So this is our new e-learning course. I do recommend taking a look at that. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to clarify is that some of you may already be using Appulate before SPS came aboard, and that's perfectly fine. We did not create a separate account for you to use Appulate to submit to SPS. You have the same Appulate account that you've always had. We've just added SPS as another market that you can work with. But what you do need to keep in mind is that you cannot go to a company-specific prefix if you want to use Appulate for more than just the market that you have listed up here in the URL. So in this case, it's sps.appulate.com. You'll want to remove the SPS part and just have appulate.com, and that will make sure that you have access to all of the markets that you've chosen to work with in Appulate, meaning all of the markets that are under selected. Just don't log into a company-specific URL. Just log into appulate.com with your same credentials, and you will have access to all of the markets that you've chosen to work with in Appulate. All right, so at this time, I'm just going to go back to my PowerPoint presentation here, and I'm going to go over to this post-submission slide, and I'll toss it over to Jeff for some words about what to expect after this webinar, and then we'll go ahead and open it up for any questions.
Thank you, Vanessa. I would like to thank everyone for attending, and we hope the webinar was informative and clearly demonstrated the ease of using the Appulate system. As mentioned earlier, our goal is ease of doing business and allow you to focus on what's important to you, and as we all know, that's growing your business. Do me a favor, please complete the post-webinar to let us know how you're doing, and as always, you can reach us by email or feel free to give one of us a call direct, and we appreciate your business. So Vanessa, we can open it up for questions.
Okay, great. So I'd like to remind you all that if you have any questions, you can type them in the GoToMeeting side panel, either in the chat or the question section, and I'll go ahead and read those questions out loud, and either myself or Jeff will go ahead and answer those for you. If you think of any questions after the webinar, just go ahead and jot down the information that's on your screen now with the contact information for SPS, and of course you can always reach out to SPS with any additional questions. So first call for any questions. First question here is, what is the best way to request an update while quoting? Jeff, I'll toss that one over to you.
When you're updating the system, once you go in and complete the Accord, when you go back into your management system or the PDF and you do make those changes again, you would re-upload the file, the Accord 125 and 146. And from there, when you generate it in the system, it will ask you if it's a duplicate or update. So you will simply click the update function, and it will go in and change out all of the data that is associated with that application. And there will also be a trail of those documents within the system that we can reference at a later point. And once you click the submit button to SPS, we'll see that on our end as well, that it is an update of a current application. Does that answer your question?
I think that does. If it doesn't, you can go ahead and type in another question there in the GoToMeeting side panel. The next question here is, how will I know when a quote is available? And I'll take that one. As I mentioned earlier, you will receive email notification anytime that SPS does something on your quote. So if they have released a quote to you, or if they've changed the status as bound and uploaded policy docs, you will receive email notification. If you want to just log into Appulate, of course, you can do that and go into the Insured file, and you'll be able to see all that information on there as well. The next question is, can I email directly from Appulate? And that's yes. So I mentioned at one point that if you wanted to actually share the quote with your insured, there is an email option in Appulate where you can send the email directly from Appulate over to your insured. But of course, anything that's in Appulate, you can always extract into PDF and attach it into an email outside of Appulate if you prefer. Of course, everything that's done in Appulate makes it easier to track, though. Okay, those seem to be all of the questions that we have. Last call for any questions. Okay, great. On behalf of the entire Appulate team and on behalf of SPS, we'd like to thank you for taking the time to join us on the webinar today. We do hope that you found it informative. If you do have any questions post-webinar, please feel free to reach out to SPS with the contact information on the screen. They would like to hear from you, get any feedback from you, and make sure that you start using Appulate today. Thank you.
Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day.